What's going on, Pokemon Go trainers? Welcome to episode 26 of the Lured Up Podcast Creator Series, bringing your favorite content creators to talk about their work, process, and the game that brings it all together, Pokemon Go. We have a very special video version of the podcast today. It is Friday, April 2nd, 2021, and I am excited to be joined by the crew from the Incensed podcast. What is up, family? How are you? Welcome to the show. What's going on?
Thank you for having
us here, Ken. Awesome pleasure.
Great to be here, Ken. Great to be here. Surreal.
Yeah, hyped. Thanks for having us on, mate.
No, it's absolutely awesome. I'm very excited to have everybody here, and I can't wait to talk some shit and get things going. But there's four of you. I don't even know how you guys fucking do a podcast with four hosts. I'd lose my shit. But why don't we just go around the room? Introduce yourselves, let us know who you are, where you're from, kind of talk about your personal endeavors, and then we'll ultimately talk about how the band got together here, and we'll talk about the Incensed podcast. I don't know who wants to go first. Coops, you got to go first, man.
All right, bro. Do you want me to start it off? Should I start it off? So, well, Ken, this is actually my second time with you, mate. I just can't get enough of it. I love you so much. So yeah, I'm known as a content creator as Casual Coops. I am from London in England, and if you want to know a bit more, just listen to my episode, which was like 25 episodes ago. Oh my god! But yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet there. So that's just a little bit about me.
Nice, Milo. What about you?
Okay, so I'm Pogo Milo UK on YouTube, and I'm also from London in the UK. Different area to Coops. It's like, what? It's not that far, but I'm too lazy to fucking visit you, mate. So
yeah, you are.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I've been a content creator for a year and a half or so. Do video editing as a career. But that obviously lends itself quite nicely into being a content creator. And I don't know why I didn't start doing it earlier, to be honest. I kick myself every bloody day.
Nice. Awesome. Ian, what about you, man?
Yes, so I am Ian Waterfall. I've been on YouTube for about 5 years. My content is predominantly currently Pokemon Go, but I do throw in a few other bits and bobs here and there, predominantly tech and travel when we can travel. And that's pretty much it. I am from the Midlands in the UK, so I'm the furthest north of the crew.
Nice. I don't know shit about shit over there, so
yeah,
I'll take
your reaction.
I'll take your word for it. And Masterful, dude, I'm glad you're here, man. I know we've been talking for a while on Twitter, so I'm excited that finally we get to do a little collaboration, man. Introduce yourself.
Definitely, absolutely. It just feels really right doing it now, actually. It's a great place. But yeah, I'm Masterful27. That's my YouTube name. I've been creating YouTube content for about 3 years now. From the UK, well-travelled, currently residing in Wiltshire, which is, to make it really simple, Ken, it's to the left of where the London boys are, a bit further that way. And, I say, it's just something I wanted to do. And, it's all around the game. For a bit of travel in there. But, yeah, just love it, mate. Absolutely love it.
Nice. Awesome. And I always start off every show to get to know the guests.
Oh my God, Ken, I'm really sorry. I just got a shiny. Boys, I just got a shiny.
I haven't even dropped an incense yet. Damn, Coops.
Bloody hell.
Ken, This is not a plan.
That's hilarious
for our podcast. I'm sorry. This is not a plan.
That is fucking hilarious.
I mean, listen, it's a Totodile, but I'm going to
transfer
take it.
Transfer it.
Transfer it.
We talked about it the other day. He's not allowed to transfer any more shinies.
No.
Do you know what? This is so funny, Ken, because we've recorded 8 episodes, and that's my first shiny. I'm so sorry. Sorry, mate.
That is so funny. That's absolutely hilarious.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Sorry.
No, I like to start every show with kind of talking about how the Pokemon franchise has come into each of your lives. Where is the path of Pokemon taking you? Like, it's like I'm an old man, so it's like it's always exciting to talk about it. Sometimes the creators like Mystic 7 or whatever, was like 1 when Pokemon came out, and then you have people like me who were an adult when Pokemon came out. So I'd like to hear from each of you. What's your relationship with the Pokemon franchise at large? When were you introduced to it, and kind of how has that journey gotten you to where you are now?
Yeah, so I'll go first again. I was introduced to it as a young cub, as a young sort of kid, and I used
Casual.
yeah, as a young, yeah, I was still casual. I was still casual, but as a young casual. Thanks for that, Milo. And I used to be getting up. I used to stay at my neighbours a lot. Like they had 2 kids, and obviously there was me and my brother, so we all used to hang about and that. And we used to get up on like a Saturday at like 6:45 and watch Pokemon on the telly because that was the time it was on. And obviously, as a kid, everybody loves Charizard. You're obsessed with Pikachu or Charizard. There's no other Pokemon. That's what you're obsessed with. And back then, as well as watching it, I used to love my Game Boy Color. I used to love, obviously, red, blue, and I was going to say green version. There's not a green version, is there? It's yellow.
Well, there was a green in Japan.
Oh, there was. Oh.
Yeah.
See, casual. And yeah, and I used to play that. I used to love it on the Game Boy. And then, to be fair, I had a massive break from it. I kind of wasn't Pokemon obsessed at all through my teenage years. And then, yeah, when I started a YouTube channel about 2 years ago, I started doing episodes of my life. And then I didn't really enjoy covering content about me specifically and what I was up to. So I was thinking, I need a niche. And at the time, I was playing Pokemon Go. So that was kind of how that journey kind of happened. Obviously, I fell in love with the game so quickly because of that past when I was younger. I absolutely loved it. And the game's just developed so much, which it's just, as we can all agree, 10 times more enjoyable to play now than it was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about the franchise is, you know, it's been such a foundational component of entertainment that as our lives kind of ebb and flow with our, you know, relationship with the franchise, it was like the rock. It's always there. So whether you take a break for a year or 5 years, or in some cases 10 years, the franchise is always there for you to get back to, and you know, it'll welcome you back with open arms. So that's exactly. One thing I love about the Pokemon franchise. Ian, what about you? What's your Pokemon journey?
Similar to what you said earlier, Ken, I am old as fuck. So I'm probably one of the oldest creators that actually puts any Pokemon Go content out. So yeah, I remember I was an adult when it first launched, had a sort of in and out relationship with it over the years, sort of played a little bit of the main series, but not a lot. And it was really when Pokemon Go came out and getting out and about and the sort of walking around and the AR aspect, finding the whole journey in real life and the exercise that really kind of got me into it. So eventually I started integrating that into my YouTube videos, into my vlogs, and yeah, I never really looked back 4.5 years later. Nice.
Milo, what about you?
Well, I'm actually about as old as Pokemon is itself. But I never got into it on the main series, the cards, the anime, or anything like that. I picked up Pokemon Go in 2016. Basically just off of a whim. Like my girlfriend suggested I downloaded it. I was going to let it pass me by. And then I found my uni mates were playing it, and that was just really, really enjoyable, going out and about and catching these creatures that I eventually learned the bloody names of. And yeah, that kind of kicked me into gear, and it was a really, really fun way of going out and exploring my local area, because I think I just stayed in a little bubble in Ealing and really only been sort of a film school there and a few other bits and places. And then I expanded my horizon and sort of scoped out West London, essentially. So it sort of helped me discover my own city, really.
That's awesome.
But
I think
I'm yet to play a main series game.
What? Hey man, there's plenty to go around, so that's all good, and that's awesome to hear though. And Masterful, finally, what about you? How did your Pokemon journey begin and get you here?
I'm kind of pleased you went to Milo before me, Ken, because I'm on a very similar journey to Milo, and I'm a lot older than Milo, so I've got no excuses. My journey very much, I'm well traveled, like I said before. I've moved around quite a lot, and Pokemon Go, I remember when it first came out, and in the UK we had to wait a little bit longer to get our hands on it. Not that they ironed out the login issues by that point, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. But it was a great opportunity to get active, play a game. Now, I watched the anime when I was younger. I was leaving high school when Pokemon started, and the game just tied in really nicely. But then off the back of playing Pokemon Go, I felt like I was obliged to try and give some of the emulators a go. And I did play Pokemon Red, and then some of the Switch series, which obviously the remasters or remade versions, which had come out. But yeah, you know, as soon as I picked the game up and could log in, it's been ever since. It's helped me meet new people wherever I've moved. So it's a real linchpin of communities. I found the game, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's you know, for myself, I've been in it from the beginning, and you know, I had roots in the TCG. That's kind of where I started with the Pokemon franchise, and you know, it's always amazing that how working in the content space, you know, and we'll get to it in the moment, but you know, how important collaboration is, especially in the audio format, which is, you know, the smallest of the subgenres of content mediums. You know, how important it is to work with other creators and get to meet people. And, you know, yeah, it's awesome to get out and exercise and do all that shit. But nothing beats the ability to meet other like-minded people, especially when they're, you know, just have like the same kind of like sick, twisted, you know, perspective on having a good time that, you know, that many that I've met have in this space, which is really cool.
And despite their age, hey Ian, despite their age, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter,
dude. It's like, you know, it's that is another thing that's really cool, because, you know, Adam is much younger than I am. You know, my co-host on Lured Up, but we're still able to connect. We're still able to bond. I mean, I have a 12-year-old son who's, you know, loves Pokemon. He was obsessed with Pokemon Go for about the first year and a half. He fell off from that, but now he's.
I thought you were going to say, and then he got a life.
Yeah. No, you know what it was? He moved on to the Jurassic World AR based location.
Oh, really?
So he's a daily player of that, but he loves the VGC. So I mean, he's huge with Sword and Shield right now, and you know, he's currently building, you know, a dragon based team and you know, working his EVs, working his IVs. So he's hardcore with it. So it's like I love being able to have this connection with people, whether it's you know, whether they're older, younger, you know, whatever it may be. There's always that common ground and that commonality of, you know, you see someone walking down the street giving a little swirly. It's like,
or the cable out the pocket.
Yeah, or the cable out the pocket. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, it's very easy to see, you know, it's like, yeah, that person is absolutely playing Pokemon Go. But how did this come together? Because, you know, obviously you're all from the same general area, but you definitely have different backgrounds. You have different focuses on the game. You have, you know, you're all creating content in one way or another. But how did this come to be where you decided to go after podcasting? And I'm an advocate for the format. So, you know, whenever I hear these stories, especially with people coming over from the video format, I get fired up because I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, podcasting.
Yeah.
But how did this whole thing come to be, and kind of whose idea was this to begin with?
So,
Mark,
mate,
do you
might
want to go with it? Like,
Mark.
Yeah. Mark, it was your idea. Yeah, go on.
Mark.
Yeah.
So we'll be honest with you, Ken. The pandemic brought us together.
Hey, silver linings, right?
Silver linings, yeah. We were always looking to collaborate, and this was something that was going to potentially give us another avenue, in a creative way. And it was always something that I knew we all really wanted to do. And we'd been in contact before we got to this, and we set up a little group and we're having a chat. And I was just in the kitchen, and I literally just said, "Do you guys fancy just putting a podcast together? Let's have a chat about it." And you know, within seconds, all the guys were like, "Yeah, that sounds amazing." Actually, Milo sort of said, "I was thinking about that." And
yeah, I was too. Funnily enough, it was something that we'd all been thinking about.
It's still written on the whiteboard behind me.
Yeah.
It's still there. I literally wrote it down about 16 hours before you put your message in the group.
That's awesome.
Spooky.
That's awesome. That's great. Now, I know, you know, for me, it's like I'm a host on 2 different shows, and I produce 2 other shows, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time. And I'm very interested in seeing how not only Pokemon, but creating this podcast fits into your schedule. Because when I'm talking about podcasts with people, I say, yeah, you know, there's different approaches that you could have to the medium, where you could just, you know, hit record in the middle of you and your friends, you know, just bullshitting and just release it. Or you can take a little bit more of a, you know, a detailed approach to it, and, you know, produce the content and edit and all that kind of stuff. Now, having YouTube channels and producing that kind of content and video editing and all that kind of stuff, how does this work with getting this into your schedule between your life schedule, your video content schedule, and then finally producing, because, you know, four hosts, 4 audio tracks to edit. Like, I know I kind of hear from listening to your show that you kind of pass the torch around. How does that work from a production perspective of
Mate,
how you guys make this work with your lives?
Mate, Ian presses recorder. We send it all to Milo. That's literally what happens.
There's a bit more to it than that, but yeah.
Not much more. Not much more.
I'm the sod who's lumped with the edit.
So when we came up with the idea, well, when Mark came up with the idea and we all agreed to it, what we kind of said is that, you know, we didn't want like one host, so we didn't want it to just be like one of us that constantly directs the conversation, comes up with bullet points to talk about, etc., etc. So what we decided to do is there's 4 of us, so we can have like a round. So, and we'd each, you know, we don't even really call it the host. It's just the person that keeps an eye on the time and the person that comes up with the show notes for that specific episode, and kind of the one that directs the conversation. If we're bitching about Niantic too much, drags us back in.
Yeah.
So that's to be fair, mate, that's kind of the format that we sort of come up with, and that's what we've done. We've done 8 episodes and we've all had sort of 2 rounds to, let's say, host it. Yeah, to host it.
Yeah, and we sort of worked out a time that worked best for everybody. It was sort of, I think it's midweek, and you think, okay, that we can dedicate 2 hours of our evening to get it done once a week, and then there's a good couple of days between then and releasing it. It gives me time to edit it depending on whatever I'm doing. I think there's only been one scenario where I actually had to go to Bristol to visit my family, and I had to edit until like 3:30 in the morning, and then put that rough first cut through to Ian to finish off, because I just couldn't do it. Like, Bristol Wi-Fi at my parents' place, it's like you're freaking Stone Age. But yeah, like the editing's actually all right. I'm sure that you know, because you edit this as well, don't you?
So I'm a fucking freak when it comes to editing. It's like, you know, I typically will spend anywhere between 20 to 25 minutes to a half an hour on every 10 minutes of audio.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, yeah, it's fucking brutal. And it's like, I do it to myself, and it's like, you know, I'm up every fucking night till 1, 2 a.m., you know, editing. And then it's like, I'm up at 6 a.m. for work. Dude, it's like, if I had more time, like if this was a full-time gig, I would even dig in, you know, and plant my heels even more. But, you know, when I first started podcasting, it was like, oh, the fucking process. I love editing. It's so great. And it's like, now it's like, fucking shoot me. This is the worst. It's like,
I think Milo will feel like that, because if we did offer, I did say I would share editing responsibilities.
I've been doing video editing. I've been freelance video editing for a while. And yeah, you get to that point, you think, oh, fucking hell, I've got to deal with this bollocks right now, rather than just, I don't know, having a drink, a walk, whatever. But it's not too bad, because I personally really enjoy editing our kind of discussion banter, because it's actually really enjoyable to listen to.
Listen,
so
mate, remember,
you
have only done 8. Ken's done about 150. You have only done 8.
It's true.
So, it's like I don't know, between the different podcasts that I do and the other ones I produce, I probably...
Mate, you must be pushing at numbers. Like,
it's three podcasts a week.
Jesus.
Sometimes 4, and then, you know, I've been doing this for a couple of years, so it's, you know, it's a couple hundred episodes, and now I just took on, you know, started, you know, last year, but it kind of took a hiatus up until this week. But I also edit for Go Stadium. They have a they have a PvP podcast called Stadium Cast, which I edit for, so I do their editing. So it's like, on top of my own shit, it's like I'm editing those shows. So, but you know, it's a labor of love for sure. And
for that, man.
Much different than the video space when it comes to ROI and, you know, return on the investment and everything. But no, it's definitely a labor of love. But let's get into the content itself a little bit. What can a listener of the Incensed podcast expect from the first time they listen to your show? If they've never listened before, what can they expect from, you know, typically your the in and outs of the Incensed podcast?
That's a really simple one. Yeah, it's a really simple one to answer. It's essentially 4 guys sat in a pub with a beer, just chatting shit, and we don't pull any punches. If we think something, we'll say it. We literally, we want to be honest with ourselves, with each other, and with the audience. So if we've got an opinion, we're out with it.
You know, that's the beauty of it. And what I enjoy about your show is that it's clearly organic. It's clearly a natural conversation. That's what not only is going to make for great content, but that's when it allows the the real flavor and perspective of the show to come out, because you're not scripting and you're not kind of following a stringent format. It is more just like a bunch of buddies sitting around talking. And I think from the audience's perspective, and again, this is when I'm talking to people about trying out their first podcast, I say, look, the real enjoyment I get from listening to shows is I feel like I'm in the room. I feel like I'm hanging out. I feel like I'm part of the conversation. And it's like, when you hear that song or something, you're like, this fucking guy wrote these lyrics for me. It's like I get that feeling when I'm listening to podcasts sometimes where it's like
very personal.
Exactly. And that's why I am so attracted to the format, because it's like, I really feel like I'm part of this. And I'm in this conversation, and I could see myself having these exact arguments or these exact debates. And that's why I love getting people on the show that have differences of opinion, because I want to stir that pot. I want to stir that shit up, because
you told me before.
It's like, I love that shit. It's like, I want to, I want the best and worst of people. I want to hear the exact reason why you believe in what I'm saying, or the exact reason why you think I'm full of shit, because that's typically when the best conversation is going to happen, because that's like when the truth gets out. And I've gotten into conversations with people that we've had to hit stop and say, you know what, we're going to not air that last 20 minutes because we just got fucking heated. Let's reset, fucking woosah, rub the ears and really fucking chill out and take this again. And then I go back and listen to it, and I'm like, that was some good content right there. That's the good shit.
Should have kept
going. I fucking should have. It's like I call him back like, yo, you all right if I post this shit? But it's like, no, and I agree 100%. It's like having that personalized experience and the fun. And I love the fact that you say like, oh, I'm in a pub just chilling with my friends and just having these conversations. That's that relaxed feeling where, I could fucking do my chores, or I can be doing the dishes and listening to the show, and it's just happening. I push the vibe with the Pokemon Go content of, this is a perfect thing to do while you're out grinding, while you're out playing. Absolutely. It's a hashtag listen while you play. While you're there, it's like your eyeballs, your body, your hands, those are all captive at that point because you're playing, but your ears, unless you're like walking in traffic, your ears are still available.
Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
Put me in your ear holes, as you're out there catching, and it adds to that immersion into the world, because not only are you visualizing the game, experiencing the game, exploring out in nature, exercising, but now you're also learning and being a part of this moving conversation passively. And I think that just adds to the immersion of the overall world of Pokemon Go.
Ken, how do you think we got the name, bro? How do you think we got the name?
Bro,
Incensed.
Yo, I said it's like someone's got to come up with like the Hyper Potion podcast, because like we got lures, we got Incensed. It's like the Lucky Egg podcast. Like
we were taking the piss of like mysterious component, weren't we?
Yeah. We threw all of the items around.
I know. When I saw that, I was like, oh shit, we got all these fucking items going on. I go, that's funny as hell. I was like, it's so funny that you say that, because that's, I thought the same thing, when I first saw it. But, I have notes here. And again, it's like adding to that organic thing. Like whenever I have guests on or anything like that, I write these fucking ultra formal, itineraries. And it's like, you know what? It's like, this is just a reference. And it's like, I'm looking here and it's like, fuck this shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly what we're like. Yeah. Do you know what nailed down the title of the podcast, Ken?
Tell me.
Mark, tell Ken what nailed it down.
So we all got on the first Zoom call. So we'd agreed in the group, this is what we'd like to try. So we got the first Zoom call on, just chewing some, just chewing the fat on loads of ideas. And I had an incense on when we were chatting away, and I incensed to Shiny as we were having that first conversation. And we were going down every single option. We genuinely thought Mysterious Component was a winner at one point, which is really worrying. And then Shiny Eevee saved the day, and we went for Incensed. And Ian, I'll let Ian, but the artwork that you see, it was one of the first things was create. We go, what can it look like?
It's
Well,
like, it
Ian, what
needs
did
to
we
be
say?
Shit.
Yeah, we were like
The discussion
oh,
was we want it to be so bad it's good.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
100%.
No, that's really cool. And again, adding to that organic vibe of, you know, just friends hanging out and shooting the shit. And you know, let's get down to the brass tacks a little bit. Y'all are exceptionally critical of Niantic, and you know, I'm one that
Are we?
a little bit.
Some of us more than others.
But it's like,
I'm not saying
you know,
anything.
I walk the line where I will be super critical, but I try to be exceptionally constructive. And, you know, I'm in a position where I'm very fortunate enough to work with Niantic on a daily basis. And, you know, it's like I've gotten to know many of the employees and meet with the teams and speak with the teams. So for me, it's definitely a personal thing because.
By the way, was that you saying, boys, be careful what you say?
No, I'm saying the opposite.
I'm
saying because I'm not in that position. I like to hear these perspectives from the outside of saying like, hey, I want to hear from the person that doesn't have a contract with Niantic. What do they think? Like, what are their feelings?
And we're never going to get one. Let's face it.
Well,
Sponsor.
that ship sailed, you know, but it's like, you know, explain to me how much of this is shtick and how much of it is, you know, natural, true feelings, because it's definitely clear through your own personal content and through the show that you fucking love this game, you know, for better, for worse, for whatever it is. We love this game.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, right? So,
right.
You know,
Right. So it's
And we do. We all love the game. That's what brought us together.
So
Yeah.
when you are being critical of Niantic and when you are kind of going in and it's like, you guys fucking go in, it's like, you know, how much of that is, you know, true feelings and how much of that is like, hey, we are entertainers here.
we're all gone quiet.
Deadly
Censor
silent.
cricket sound.
In my head, I was
Yeah.
like, "Shall I take this one?" And then I heard Milo, and I was like, "Okay, Milo, you go first."
And then I stop. That's just what happens, and then I actually cut it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like when Niantic actually do something sensible, and it's actually a good thing. Like I mean, one episode, I think Coops was defending them to all bloody hell on one thing.
We were
Ken,
over the Kanto, yeah. Over
Ken,
the
can
Kanto.
you
Yeah.
believe that? Me, I was
Yeah.
defending them.
Yeah,
Can you
so there
believe
was
that?
actually a little split opinion on that. But I don't know. For me personally, it's always like if I can think of something that is a better solution than you've created, and it's not like ridiculous saying, "Oh, free shinies for everyone." It's not stupid. It's actually fairly logical, fairly sensible, and practically quite easy to do. And I'm a measly low-level content creator in London. What are they thinking over there in Niantic? It's like they could do so much better, and it's just like a letdown and a step backwards. And it's more the disappointment of what could have been. That's what fuels certainly my foul mouth.
Yeah, and Milo, this is what we say though. This is what all four of us boys say. You know, we love this game, Ken. Like you said, we love it so much, which is the reason why we all spend hours and hours per week creating content. But I think, and we've joked about this before, that all of our expectations for this game are so high. They're so high because with technology...
Mark's aren't.
Mine aren't. Mine are very open.
Mark has the right outlook.
Yeah. But like,
right outlook.
but like for like me and the others, our expectations are so high, and it comes back to where technology is and where gaming is and how much money they earn. And it all comes into my perspective of what they can do. And I hate to say it, but like Milo said, it is, you know, 90% of the time, it's just like, really? You know, really? Is that really what just happened when it could have been this or this or this? And the things that we say, we just pull it out of our ass. We just come out of it on the spot. And we think,
really
well,
do.
what is the 50, 100, I don't know how many people they are that work for them. What are all of those people actually doing? And I think that's where our frustration comes from.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And, you know, it's very sensible when you think about it, because I like passion in people, whatever it is. You could say, you know, I'm really fucking passionate about sneakers or clothing or music, whatever it is. I want to explore that passion. And sometimes through that passion, the emotion is leading the charge. And when it does, a lot of times you're talking from the heart and you're talking off the hip. And it's like, it's not it's not necessarily what you would expect from produced content. So that's why I think that sometimes when you're at the pub shooting the shit with somebody and you're, you know, talking smack about something, it's no big deal. But then all of a sudden when you're recording something and producing and releasing it to the world, and it's like, oh shit, they just went in, you know, it has a little bit more of a pronounced impact, because it's not something you typically hear in the produced content world. But I am drawn to that with your show because, again, it's organic, it's natural, and you know, I know that you don't wish any ill will on the employees, but there's a lot of people on social
No. Never.
But there's a lot of people that talk shit from that perspective, like these people are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my dead grandmother can do this better. You know, just completely unconstructive. And what I like about your show is, yeah, you'll go in, and it is entertainment, and it is comedy. You know, you are making me laugh. And I think that's why I don't want to say the word tolerate, but I think that's the reason why I'm okay with it, is because it's presented in such an entertainment-based package.
Thank you.
I'm okay listening to it and saying, fuck, am I being rude to the people I care about at Niantic by listening to this, or am I being, you know, doing a disservice to those people, or by supporting this? And it's like, I don't think so, because I'm a firm believer in, you know, like comedy being one of the last, you know, free spaces of expression. And I think when you take an approach to entertainment and content, and you're blending lifestyle and culture and vlogging and gaming, and put that all together and be hypercritical of something, you kind of get a little bit more of a gray area when it comes to someone that's just fucking standing at the top of the Twitter mountain going, fuck you, Niantic. You know what I mean?
Trust me, there's a lot of them.
And you know what? We do know, we are aware that Niantic obviously make commercial decisions for what they do, and there's reasons behind that. And fan bases are predominantly quite toxic on social media.
Yeah,
so some of it is tongue-in-cheek, some of it we try and be constructive, but some of it is from the heart. So we try to be fair. We try to.
But Ian, it's like you said at the start, bro. Like, there's no filter. Like, we literally,
there's no filter.
Yeah,
No.
we just literally say it how we feel, and we appreciate, Ken, what you're saying. It comes across in, because obviously we're all bantering with each other, all taking the piss out of each other, bro. But it's genuine, mate. Everything that we say, it's not planned, it's not scripted. It's how we feel, especially if the event is happening right then on the day that we're recording. We will tell you how we're feeling for sure.
Nice. And that's great. And I think that definitely comes across. But you said unfiltered, so I'll definitely dig into this a bit. With Lured Up, we were really one of the only Pokemon Go shows, and one of the very few Pokemon shows at large that ran the explicit tag. You know, most of them are clean as a whistle, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's like we made the decision, I don't know, something like 50 episodes into Lured Up, we're like, you know what, we're just going to go for it and kind of build our niche there of being a little bit more of the voice of the community from that perspective. How did that work out with y'all with, your decision to talk
Ken,
shit?
we did, Ken, I'll tell you what, we started recording it, and within about 5 minutes, we realized it's going to have to be an explicit podcast. We didn't talk about it at the beginning.
Nice. It just happened.
We're like,
and if we tried to cut the explicits out, it would be like 20 minutes shit.
It's like, I'm not editing this shit. This one takes way too long to edit.
Mate, do you know what's so funny though? Recently, like, obviously we are explicit, we swear a lot on that, so you've got to expect that when you're listening. But the other day, Milo said a really, really, really bad word, and all of us were just like, even though we're explicit and we swear at each other, but he said it and we're all like, no. So we're not like explicit, but we definitely are. We definitely don't hide the fucks and shits for real.
Yeah. And I think in terms of our YouTube channels, we're all pretty G-rated. I mean, Milo and Coops will put duck quacks in if they swear on and Mark and myself never swear in our YouTube videos.
No, we don't.
With this, because we can broadcast it and we can mark it as explicit, and it just gives us a better avenue to.
I also feel like the video platform, certainly for Pokemon, is very it's sort of non-age restricted. It's very accessible to everybody. But I feel like a podcast is a more mature platform and sort of medium essentially. So it feels more right, sort of where I'm coming from in my head, that you leave that in, particularly since we're going for that down the British pub kind of vibe. You would be swearing with your mates, particularly if Niantic cock up the Kanto event. You know,
right?
you would be swearing.
I agree with you 100%. And podcasts, definitely, the demographic in general is older than, say, YouTube. I mean, you know, it's like my son is, like I said, he's 12 and he's been watching YouTube his whole life. You know, like you know, he busts my balls because he's got a YouTube channel with almost 10,000 subs, and he's got videos with 3 million views. You know, and it's like, you know, dumb shit that we filmed like as a kid. You know, like me filming him like playing with Mario toys, and this dumb produced like Luigi's Mansion video I made like one year with a Halloween costume that he had of Luigi, and it's got, you know, it made it to the front page of Reddit and like just blew the fuck up.
Wow.
Crazy.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm just ordering that costume off.
Yeah.
No.
But it's like, the accessible, from an accessibility perspective, it's, they have access to a podcast. Their phones have, you know, the podcast apps built in. The stuff is on YouTube, but you're not going to find many kids listening to podcasts unless they're in the back seat of their parents' car, and like, you know, I subject them to you know, certain shit. It's like, I have my son in my car, I'm listening to like Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's like I'm trying to put like educational podcasts on. It's like keeping the podcast vibe, but it's like, I'm not gonna put on Incensed when, you know, my son's in the car. He's like, Dad, can I listen to your podcast? I'm like, well, there's one you can listen to, and the other one, it's like, you know, cock and balls, like the whole time. I was like,
what did you say? You started swearing on the 50th. He just listens to 1 to 50, but on rotation.
And stop. No, that's funny as hell. But, you know, digging in a little bit further on the state of the game and how that kind of influences passion and emotion. When it comes to the content that you cover on your show, are you covering the news? Are you, and again, I listen to the show, but if you're speaking to the proverbial audience here, how much of your show is that natural conversation? How much of it is covering the news? How much of it is, you know, covering the blogs and stuff like that? Because I think when it comes to how content, especially in the audio format, is absorbed, that stuff can come across in a lot of different ways. Like, what's the makeup of your shows when it comes to how you cover the game? And if something goes awry in the game that you experience as a player, how does that influence what you bring to the table when you're recording?
Well, Ken, I'll jump in really quickly and I'll let the guys play off what I'm going to say. I mean, we were very much of the opinion, if you've got your eyes and you've got the game, you can read the news. And that's kind of was always the starting point. We said, listen, you know, we'll cover some of the headlines. We'll make it relevant for that week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we like the idea that the conversation around whatever was going on in the game, it was something you could pick it up. And if you were new to Incensed or you're new to the podcast sort of platform, you could pick it up. And just because that was 3 weeks ago, it doesn't mean you couldn't enjoy listening to it. And we actually were really critical about ourselves sometimes, because we're always critical about ourselves, but we're like going, I don't think there's enough Pokemon Go content in this, as we start trying to put it together. And actually, loosely, we're talking about it, but not in the what's going on today, but in the experiences. And we sort of bounce off each other a bit. But no, that was always the plan, wasn't to just be a news one, to read it all off, because, you know, anyone can read it, can't they? That was our sort of thought.
And building on that, probably I would say at least a third of every show is just chatting shit about things that aren't even Pokemon related. It's just a chat between mates about some stuff we've done in the past, where we've traveled to, stuff that we're really enjoying at the time, silly little games.
Other random questions.
Yeah.
Ken, you're going to die at this, brother, because when we recorded the first episode, right, we all kind of recorded it. Obviously, bless Milo, he edited it, and then we all kind of listened to it. And I sort of wrote on the group chat, I said, gents, like, might be a really unpopular opinion, but I got really bored of the Pokemon Go stuff, and everybody was and everybody was like, Coops, like, hands up, like, I agree, like, we were really bored. So it was from that first episode, which obviously had the most Pokemon Go content, because that's where we started the whole podcast off from, was Pogo. From then on, we realized actually maybe people just love us for just being, like Ian said earlier, he just said it perfectly, 4 lads all drinking, having a right laugh in the pub. And yeah, as Mark did sum it up, then we do talk about Pokemon Go, but as the episodes are going on, it's definitely getting less and less and less.
Yeah, I think we said on one of the pre-show meetings, didn't we? Like, oh, we'll just take that bit out. We'll just take that bit out.
Yeah.
And Mark was like, "Are you sure? There's not a lot of Pogo content here."
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, we'll take it out. Yeah, it's fine. We'll drop that.
No, I think that also plays into what, that common theme of just friends talking, and that natural conversational experience, and the people will come to a podcast for the first time based on a search query. Pokemon Go podcast, how to fucking beat a raid boss, whatever it is that they're searching for that informational thing that might get someone to your show. But what's going to retain them from an audience perspective is the commonality of perspective and the commonality of personalities that they have with the hosts. So when you can create that dynamic of really having a platform that allows your personality as a person, as a human, to come across, that just so happens to be blended with the world of Pokemon Go, that's when you have that magic. That's the secret sauce of saying, like, yeah, I came to this podcast because it was Pokemon Go, but I'm going to listen to it again because that dude's fucking hilarious. Or, they say fuck, so I like that. I say fuck, or something like that. And that's super important in the podcast world. And, sometimes we put the perspective here on the creator series of talking about the process itself when it comes to, like, well, what's important as a creator, and, audience acquisition, especially in the podcast space. And Coops, it's like, I remember you early on, your first episode dropped and I messaged you and I was like, bro, this is fucking amazing. And we kind of went back and forth and we were talking about audience size and acquiring downloads and listeners and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, I said, what's going to be the hook of the show? The hook will be the personalities of the host. So if you omit that perspective, if you omit the color, the flavor of who's behind the messaging isn't as important as the delivery, and what the delivery, and it's like, whenever I talk to people that are like, I want to talk about, or I want to create a podcast, but I'm a boring person, or I really like fucking microphones, you know what I mean? But microphones in themselves aren't exciting.
You pulled that out of nowhere, by the way.
In a studio, there's fucking mics everywhere. But it's like
microphones.
But it's like in itself, that might not be exciting, but the delivery of the message is what people will latch onto. So I always say that's the allure of podcasts. I listen to, 20 plus hours of podcasts a week. And of course I listen to all the competition just so I can study your asses and make sure that I do better than you. But I also listen to other gaming community podcasts. I'm a huge fan of the Rooster Teeth Network. I'm a huge fan of Kind of Funny. These are like these content and gaming, troops that create all this different kind of diverse variety content, but within the gaming world. And I love Giant Bomb. And Giant Bomb is another one that big fucking corporation bought by CBS, it's a whole thing, but they stay true. And I followed their journey from GameSpot to their own thing. And then they got bought by CBS. I'm like, oh, they're going to fucking ruin the vibe. And it's still there. They were able to retain that. And I go, that's why I've been listening to them for fucking 7 years, is because they're able to maintain that feeling of, that's my boy, that's my friend. It's like, I really feel like I'm there. They're talking to me. It's like, and that vibe I always push as being so incredibly important, especially in an audio medium, because, y'all are all, dashingly handsome men, but it's like in the audio format, they're just hearing your voice. And it's like, a lot of times you have to let the consumer, the audience, kind of put together in their head, like, well, who is this person? What do they really like? What do they look like? What's their clothing style? What kind of music do they listen to? So having these type of questions and being able to explain to them in this very passive way who you are by your methodology of delivering them content that they want to hear is a really nice passive technique for podcasters to retain audience. And, I think that you are on the path of developing that so well, because you're 8 episodes in and you're already have this vibe that seems like a much more mature show, mature from the perspective of meaning, having a lot of episodes. So I know you guys are definitely not mature like adults, you know. I'm
Really not.
All down to Milo's edit. It's literally all down to Milo's edit.
But no, that part of it is definitely important. And you know, how we were saying that the current state of the game, and without getting into the weeds of like the current topics of news or anything like that.
Yeah.
Where's everybody at with the state of the game as a trainer? So put your YouTube hat aside, put your podcast hat aside.
How long have we got?
As long as you need. But as a trainer, as a player, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly of the game right now for each of you? Because I think that kind of helps an audience understand who you are as a creator, and that kind of say, well, you know what, I kind of feel the same way, or I don't feel the same way. You know, let me listen to it. I grew up listening to Howard Stern. You know, I'm a huge Howard Stern fan, and it's like he would have people that hated him listening to him more than people that liked him. And it's like, I always thought that was an interesting dynamic. So take away the content, talk about the game. Where are you at with things with the experience of playing, and how does that kind of, you know, how is that reflected in who you are as a person? Like, where are you at with the state of the game right now?
Gents, just remember, Niantic are listening. I'm sorry.
They probably will listen to this show, won't they?
Just encouraging me to say fuck more.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'll start this one off, lads, if you don't mind. And I've just taken that 15, 20 seconds because, Ken, you are right. And sometimes I do go off on a massive rant and I proper slag them off and I proper slag off the game. But I listened to what you said earlier. You were like saying about being constructive. So if I was going to wrap up everything, how I feel, like putting everything aside about how I feel as Coops playing Pokemon Go, I think the frustrating thing for me, and it's been quite apparent, I would say, actually, I'd even say before the pandemic, I'd even say for about the last year and a half, 2 years, is that the game, it moves so painfully slowly in every direction, in every new Pokemon, new shiny releases, raid bosses, you know, new events, you know, coming up with different things. Everything just moves so slowly to the point where it's actually a bit painful. And you know, every event has the same 3 spawns in. You know, if you know. Nothing. I feel like the game, it's not really evolving at a pace that I would particularly enjoy. You know, that I particularly enjoy playing. I think if the game was moving forward a lot quicker, I think I would enjoy playing this game a lot quicker. But saying that, I can obviously see it from a Niantic and from a business point of view, is that they are worried about this game having an end date, having a finishing date. You know, they just released Megas recently. They released XL Candy recently. They released Level 50 recently, which gives the game automatically another year and a half, another 2 years of life generally. And it's quite apparent that they are nervous about that. But for me, if I'm being constructive, that is what winds me up the most about this game in my headspace, why I've decided to go free to play the last month and a half, and why I'm just not enjoying the game as much as I was 2 years ago, because it's painfully too slow for me. That's how I feel.
Interesting.
I think that's sort of fair enough, but I'm gonna sort of go with my philosophy on the game since probably about summer 2018, where sort of my raiding game stepped up a level. And from that point, I've sort of been like, okay, I want to chase the perfect Pokemon, essentially. I want to like grind for the Shlundos and Shundos as much as I can. And I don't really care what obstacles are in the way to do that, whether it's grinding a nest or whether it's going like
money.
Sorry to bring the
We're
Rayquaza.
staging an intervention for him soon. We are.
Sorry, the Rayquaza raid weekend. I think I did.
I think you sent me about 40 invites on that weekend.
I sent so many. I did nearly 230 raids that weekend.
You're making me sweat from the cash.
So
You're making me sweat.
Yeah, I know. Which is, I'm thankful for what's currently ongoing, because I could literally just put the game off and turn it online, gone. But it's that chasing to have the top level tier of every Pokemon. I want to have a squad of maxed 6 level 50 Rayquazas. I want to have like 600% Mewtwo's. I want to have the ultimate teams, and also grind for the perfect shiny Pokemon. So that's where my thinking's always been, is looking to get what I can out of an event. Even like there have been events in 2021 that have just been diabolical, and you think, right, there isn't really anything at all for me to grind, so I'll put the gotcha on and kind of just see what I get, even if it's increasing just XP level, Stardust to max something. It's always sort of trying to maximize on what there is available, but I'll obviously throw in my opinion on some event and think like, okay, this is complete bollocks now. You could have done this better. This could have been implemented. You could have not put that out. You know, I try and maximize on what I can.
Well, I think that's a great perspective, because this game is so diverse. There's so many different ways to engage in it that, you know, latching on to a certain segment of the game is exceptionally fair. I mean, it's like I try to do a little bit of everything. And Coops, I know you've been, you know, fucking around with PvP a lot. And Milo, you clearly raid a shit ton. But it's like there's all these different areas of the game that you can kind of latch onto.
Ken, can I just say, whenever I mention PvP, these three shout at me.
They all, I saw their faces.
You're lucky.
Up,
you just see,
you know those three letters are banned. Seriously.
See, and can I say, you got the nicest response ever. So appreciate that. Because whenever I mention PvP, they go, "Fuck off, you dickhead." So you're lucky. You're lucky.
No, it's like, it's funny because I saw them all kind of, you know, it's like, but that's what I mean. There's areas of the game that are able, you know, people are able to latch onto. Yeah, and then that absolutely creates that diversity of the community. And you have these subcultures and subgroups of trainers that, you know, it's like I've got a squad of gym defenders that I go out and fucking sweep the gyms. And it's like, those aren't the same people that I'm raiding with or
I've seen
battling.
I've seen that on Twitter.
Oh, I piss everybody off. They're like, fucking Ken's got 20 blissies in gyms again. It's like, hell yeah, I do, motherfucker. I got 20 blissies in there. Like, no, it's like, dude, I can't wait for the spring event because I'm working those XL candies. And again, like to what Milo was saying, it's like, that's where I'm going with the event. It's like, well, what am I going to do? It's like, do I care about Mega Low Punny? No, I care about fucking Chansey Candy XL. That's all I care about. That's where I'm. That's exactly where I'm going.
You want those level 50 blissies?
Fuck yeah, dude! I want
a crowd.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like, I don't care. You know, people like, oh well, don't you want people to get their coins and shit? I'm like, fuck that. If that shit ain't red when I get there, it's red when I'm leaving, motherfucker. I'm
Life is unfair. Deal with it.
And you wait till I battle it down 3 levels and you'll bury it.
Oh shit, it's great. But Masterful, what about you, man? Where are you at? Where's your headspace with the game right now?
I'm my own worst enemy, Ken, if I'm honest with you. You know, I went through a period of going, I wish there was an event. Now I wish there wasn't always an event. And where I am with the game is quite honest. You know, I'm one of those guys that when I get to a level, when I got to level 40, I kind of stopped grinding XP. I've done it. I didn't really pay any attention to it. Still played the game and love doing raid days. And then now they've increased it to level 50. I've got to love to get back on the XP grind again now because I feel like, right, I've got something to play for again. So for me, my headspace at the moment is I've got something to work towards, you know, a bit like Coops, you know, I'm very casual when it comes to sort of XP grinding, but, you know, when there's an event on, I'm a rural player. I keep saying I'm a rural player, but the point being is it's got some longevity again for me now. So I've got something to work towards. I like that. I just, you know, I just think at the moment my headspace is they're just cramming too much in. And I think Coops is right. It moves slowly, but they cram a lot of stuff in and it doesn't make any sense by that. But it still feels like it's still very slow what they drip feed in.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's so weird. Yeah. It's like a conveyor belt, but going very slowly.
Yeah,
that's what I said. It's the same shit. Like it's the same shit every week.
You can have. You know, 30 days in the month, you've got events happening 28 days over the month, but what's new?
Yeah, like 1 day a week off. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same shit, different day. Literally, that's so Mark. You're so right. That's hilarious. You're right. It's so busy. There's so many events, but when you look at it, it's the same. What the hell? I love that.
That's interesting. And Ian, what about you, man? Where are you at? As you know, and it's like, look, man, I have an instant connection with you because we're old men here. So I like that. You know, it's like I embrace that shit. It was like, bro, I need to get like oldmanpokemon.com. I need to start securing some of that shit. You know, now
let's get that side.
I got to start getting that stuff locked down. You know, so it's like when this stuff kind of sunsets, it's like I could be that fucking old dude still, like, you know, look at my new plushie. You know what I mean? It's like,
my God.
But where are you at, and how are you engaging with the game?
Come on in, Granddad.
Shut the fuck up. So for me, purely as a trainer and not as a content creator, the game's a habit now. It literally, I'll flicker in the morning, I'll get my first cat of the day, I'll do my first spin of the day. Masterful 27 put it perfectly in. I'm catching a hell of a lot more now because when we hit level 14, there was no sign of a level cap increase. I took my foot off the gas. I think we all did. But
No.
I've got to echo what the other three have said in that the game is dreadfully slow. We get like one new Pokemon release maybe a month. And it's like worse than like a waterboarding. You literally getting nothing. You might get one new shiny released a month. It's dreadfully slow. And the events, there's too many events, and they're not quality events. I'd rather have fewer events that maybe ran a little longer, but better events.
Yeah, I miss the 2-week events. I really do. Like 2 weeks gives you a chance to properly grind it if you want to, or work it around your normal life, your work life, etc., family and things like that. Whereas I think the Easter event is like what, 5-6 days, 5 days,
like 4-6 day events a month, aren't you? And like a day off in between.
Oh, for goodness sake. I mean, if it's a short event and it's shit, then it's like, okay, I could just let it skip by. I guess that's the only blessing there.
Yeah, I feel that way when they fuck with the raid boss rotation. It's like, you know,
don't even start on the raids. The raids are shit at the moment.
It's like, well, Rayquaza was here for 2 days and it was awesome. You know, everyone was out fucking raiding. Everyone was going bananas. It was so great. Like, no concern about filling up a lobby. Absolutely zero. But then it's like, all right, we got fucking Heatran again for 26 days. It's like, no, it's like, why? It's like, so yeah, I the pacing is definitely an interesting thing. Now, what I'm kind of latching onto here is I've never really thought about the perspective of this being slow, because I'm always saying they're ramming events down our throats, you know, where it's just event after event after event. But I've never put the spin on it like, yeah, there's event after event, but
there's no new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting. I like, you know, my gears, you know, it's grinding my, you know, poking my balls, so to say, you know, it's like of making me, like making me think a little bit different about it, because that's an interesting perspective. Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on, but like, is there really a lot of shit going on, or is the calendar just full? It's like that's definitely
it does feel like filler, doesn't it? It's just filling up a gap, and there's nothing really that you're missing. What was it? It was when they released Tynamo as the new Pokemon. Wow, yes. Woo-hoo! And then literally the next event, Tynamo spawning. Okay, right. So literally don't ever give a fuck about that.
That's a Dex entry. Yep.
Yep.
Well, you know, I said something like that too with Frillish. It was like, you know, you could get your male Frillish from GBL rank 20. It was great. There was a level of exclusivity out of that. If people, you know, but the people that at the end of GBL season 6 just got their blue Frillish, and then it's like the next day, female Frillish is available everywhere. Yeah. It's like,
you've got 3 guys here that didn't even go for the blue Frillish.
Right.
No.
Well, and it's like, and now you got it in the research reward.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
It's
Ken,
like,
I think you're going to be really proud of me, because I'm actually going to protect them. No, I'm not going to protect them, but I am just going to say, but in Niantic's defense, yeah, it must be who's laughing, Mark? It must be unbelievably difficult now, 4.5 years in, because we all know that every single time they release a new Pokemon, that no one's going to care. The same as a raid boss, no one's going to care, because we know it's going to be around for another event, and then another event, and then a Go Fest, and then a year later it's going to come out as shiny, and then it's going to be in that year it's going to be shiny in another 12 events. So I think it's not their fault, because I would have done the same, but I think they've shot themselves in the foot, especially with legendaries. I mean, when they release a legendary that can't be shiny, as you said, Ken, they're going to release it for the whole month, you know. Who's going to raid it? And they know that no one's going to raid it unless you are like Milo and you are a bang out and you love raiding and you want the 4-star of every single legendary. But I do feel sorry for them, because at this point, even though a new Pokemon is exciting to the player base, it's not exciting, because we know it's going to be in an event in 2 months, then it's going to be in another event in 2 months after that, then it's going to be a shiny in an event 2 months.
Well, the problem is there's no hunt for a new Pokemon, is there? There's no
that's
hunt.
What I'm saying.
When Gen 1 was released, it was really ultra rare Pokemon that you never saw. Now they'll drop a new Pokemon and they're spamming it in your face. You're not searching for it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a dynamic that we're kind of in that transitional period for Niantic, where they're trying to figure this out of how to balance this.
Yeah.
And then it's like the other thing that's very easy to overlook is we're like the 1% here. You know, we're the people that live and breathe and shit this game every day, where we're 1% of the community, where the other 99% might turn the game on while they're taking a shit in the morning and, you know, catch a Pokemon, get their free box, and be satisfied with their engagement with the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how do I satisfy that trainer? Oh, well, maybe they'll see one Dynamo during the day. Whereas if someone's got, you know, my fucking screen time report shows that I have the fucking my phone on for 17 hours a day. It's like, Jesus, it's like bad.
I'm on
It's
that level.
embarrassing when you get that report. Yeah.
It's like your screen time is down for a daily average of 17 hours. I'm like, God damn, that's down.
It's when it goes up. When it goes up for me, and it's like, you've been on screen for 19 hours. Shit.
But no, it's definitely a balancing act, and you know, not only balancing the performance of the game, but also how can I make this experience enjoyable? As from Niantic's perspective, how can I make this experience enjoyable for the casual player, the 5 minute a day player, the 30 minute a day player, the 2 hours a day, and the 5 hour a day or plus? You know, it's like I feel for the person that's in you know, has to worry about that shit at Niantic, because that's an exceptionally difficult task. But
yeah, and that's what I said. I did just want to say, like, I feel that, like, honestly, like, as I feel that, and it must be hard. It genuinely must be difficult.
They're in a no-win situation, aren't they? They can't win no matter what they do. They're going to piss somebody off.
Oh, sure. And it's like, and again, it's very
9 times out of 10, Milo or me.
But it's very easy to fall into the trap of, like, you know, you hear like a certain sentiment on Twitter and you're like, this must be indicative of the whole Pokemon Go player base. And you're like, no, it's just these fucking 3 loudmouths on Twitter that, you know, get the fucking mob going. It's like
Milo and Coops.
It's like, they're going around with their torch, lighting everybody else's torches. Like, come on, let's fucking go. Let's San Francisco or bust. It's like, you know, I definitely, you know, it is hard to look past that sometimes. And especially as a creator, because we live on social so much, it's like, man, this has to be how it is. And then you're on, you know, when you're out playing with your local community, no one feels like that. And no one even had that frame of thought or that perspective. And you're like, okay, so maybe the Twitter mob is not indicative of, you know, the player base in general, or whatever it may be. It's hard to kind of to separate that sometimes. But
I do just want to say, though, reading Niantic's replies on Twitter from people is one of the funniest things that I could do in my day.
That's why we put it into the show, isn't it? That is why we put it into the show.
And potentially the questions themselves.
That's what I was saying. Like, I don't feel bad like laughing at this shit.
Yeah,
because of things like that, where it's just like, all right, this is fucking hilarious. Like, come on, let's be real. This is really good. It's like, no, but not even just like Niantic's responses, but I love Niantic will be like, hey, Dynamo is released, you know, and then the responses are like, fix fucking PvP, or, you know,
that's the same thing.
I love that shit. Dude, I love that shit so much. It's like I have a, you know, it's funny because, you know, we're on TikTok, but we haven't really launched it really good. So I'm like banking. I have about 40 pieces of content on TikTok that are ready to go once we launch it. And it's me in stupid voices reading people's replies to Niantic's tweets.
Oh, and, glorious.
They're fucking hilarious, because like some of the people are so ridiculous and they really believe, you know, their own shit. And it's like, dude, I love this community so much. And it's like, why do I love it? Because of people like you and people like, you know, that are in our Discord and all that. But then also because of these fucking morons that are out here.
I love it.
Like, I love that shit so much. It's just for the pure entertainment value. It's like one of the greatest things ever. It's just like, I love it. I love that shit so much. I love that shit so much. But as we kind of round up the conversation here, what are the goals for the show? You're new. You're only 8 episodes in. Can you see, you know, see making this show in perpetuity? Like, you trying to ride this wave as, you know, as far as it can go?
Well, we all came into this looking at it as a long-term venture. So we are wanting to grow the show, grow the audience, increase the sort of quality of our output. So yeah, it is something that we're all doing. We've just had a couple of guests come on, which for a new show, we were quite lucky to secure. So yeah, we're quite positive for the outlook of where it's going. We want to get together and do it.
Actually want to meet
In
up.
Not like that. Not like that.
No, not like that.
No,
That's not what you said last week, Coops.
like
That is not what you said.
I told you. I was like, Coops was like, well, what do I do? I was like, just bring lube, and I'll be fine. We'll be
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
But Ken, you might laugh at this, but it was actually Niantic that contacted us, and they were like, boys, there's this shitty podcast out called Lured Up, and it's a load of crap, and we need you to come on and show them how to do it. No,
That's why Niantic support follow us on Twitter.
Absolutely.
No, that's awesome. No, that's great, man. I love to hear that, not only as a fan, as a listener of the show, but I want to see more audio content and podcast content in the Pokemon space, because this is still, even though podcasts have been around for, 10, 20 years, this is still new, and more people are learning about podcasts for the first time. And they might, it's like, I've got, a couple thousand followers on Twitter, but the audience is much bigger. So it's like, I know that more people are listening to us than are interacting with us on social. It's like, well, how do I talk to those people? And it has to be through the show itself. So it's important for me to say, I need to continue making this show, because that's my only way of being the show itself is the conduit for me to talk to my audience. I can't just do it through social. I can't do it through YouTube. It's like, because that's where the people are. Obviously they're listening to the podcast. So that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that this is kind of a long, you have the perspective of it being long-term, and, obviously, the dynamic is awesome. I've seen that you launched the Patreon. You already got some Patreon funds coming through, which is fucking huge, because a lot of people don't understand or realize that aside from the human resource element of time and all that, podcasting is a pay to play thing. You've got
I mean, the outlay that we've got overheads to pay. Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people don't realize that. And it's like, you can create a podcast just by hitting record on your voice memo on your phone and publishing it. But if you're trying to syndicate your show and get it out, you have to pay a hosting company. You have to do this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that. So it's amazing. And I'm exceptionally thankful for, I have this amazing Patreon community, and, we do this. We have an amazing Discord of all our patron supporters that, are so into the format and so into being part of the process. I try to make them feel like it's their feedback is just as important as the feedback I'm getting from Niantic or from playing the game. And again, that connection between the hosts and the community, right? Like that's what we're striving for as podcasters is how can I become closer to my audience?
Yeah.
And, even though they may never see me or I may never see them, it's like, I want to feel that. I want to feel that connection is being made, on a weekly basis. So that tickles me, and I feel it in my jellies when you say it's a long-term venture, because that excites me. I think that there needs to be more podcasting in this space, and not only that, but more diverse podcasting. Like we were saying, I hate reading lists on my show. Like, you could find, spawns like blah, 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 blah. It's like, that's fuck. It's like, you can read, but it's like, I'll cover it just to get it out there for those lists. Dude, I'm so bad. I call them fucking consumers. I'm sorry, fans. I always call you consumers. It's like, but it's like, I don't want to just read lists. You know what I mean? But it's like sometimes a necessary evil. But it's like there's finding these outside of the box ways to connect with the community is exceptionally important. And we talked about collaboration. You had some guests on. Let me know who you had on. What were they like? And going forward, any creators or anything that you're looking forward to?
I'm sorry, the audio dropped out there, Ken.
You cut out.
I went into fucking robot mode there for a second. I was saying, we mentioned collaboration, and we talked about guests. What guests have you had on the show? What were they like? And going forward, who are some of the creators that you'd like to see yourself working with in the future?
Do you want me to take this? Okay, so we've had two guests. Yeah, we've had two guests so far. We had Cricket23 on episode 7. And then we have a guest in episode 8 that Mark managed to secure this week, I believe. Mm-hmm. And that was
JT Valor. He joined us, which was absolutely phenomenal. Real buzz. Really great it was. I've known JT probably about 3 years since I started content creating, and we've met. We planned to meet in Liverpool, but we met through social media. he obviously has done phenomenally well. Hit the big 50,000 on YouTube this week, which was phenomenal. But has always been very open to conversation, chewing the fat on loads of things. And he listened to a couple of them, said it's right. Like again, Ken, what we were saying, it's a bit different. It's just it's talking openly, but doing it in a way which is really honest to us. We're not changing how we are for it, and it just worked for him. And he very quickly said, "Yeah, I'm up for that." So it was really exciting. Yeah, really looking forward to.
He did love it. Actually, we loved having both of them on. To be fair, we actually haven't really discussed any more guests, have we, gents? We've
thrown names around, haven't we? But we've not
we've
really made any firm offers.
Yeah, that's exactly
anybody.
right.
Yeah.
But obviously, I know, Ken. I know that I suppose you can give your consumers. I'm joking. you can give your listeners a little treat now. You can tell them that we've discussed. We want to have you and Adam on ours. We want you guys to come on, and we're going to make that happen in the next sort of 2 months.
Yep.
I know we've already spoken about that, so that'll be cool. So to be honest, mate, I actually think you guys might actually be our next guests. To be honest.
Nice. No, I would love that. I think, and I know Adam definitely would. He was bummed that he couldn't make this.
Yeah, I'm gutted. I can't lie. I'm actually gutted when you said at the start that he wasn't going to make it. So Adam, if you're listening, we love you.
Yeah, but no, that's great. I mean, and collaboration is key. It's not only to expanding audience, but also that diversity of perspective, I think, is very important, especially when people will remain true to themselves and their community when they're in someone else's format. So it's like, like the first time I had Mystic 7 on the show, it was great. He goes, I feel like I could talk freely here. He's like, I can't do that on my own channel. It's like, yeah, that's exactly the dynamic that I want to build. I just had Reversal on, and it was like, dude, play your fucking name drop fucking sound effect. But it's like that, it's like he's able to curse and talk, and it's like when you do that, it's like you get to see a different side of the creator.
Element of freedom, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, I am lying. There is one guest we want to get on, and there is one guest we want to get on, and I'm going to let Milo say one person who would love to get on.
Yes.
Come on, Billy Lutz. The trainer club.
Yes, the trainer club. Come on.
That is definitely an aim for the podcast. Yeah. Sorry, I completely forgot.
I'm going to text him right now in real time. In real time.
Yeah.
That shit's funny, dude. But you know what? I do want to shout out JT Valor. I love JT Valor. He's a good friend. He actually we shared an Airbnb at GoFest 19. So it's like,
did you?
Yeah. So it was like, oh yeah, all the dumb tricks, playing jokes on each other and shit when they were sleeping and all that good
filming
stuff.
Filming some private content.
But seriously, his
is
work
that on
ethic,
your OnlyFans, Kat?
Yeah, exactly. But his work ethic is just absolutely insane. Not only as a grinder, and a trainer. But it's like, I remember we'd be out playing all fucking day. We get back to the Airbnb. It's like 3 a.m. We have like a 7 o'clock meeting or a 7 o'clock call time to do something. And it's like 4 a.m. and he's fucking editing. And I'm like, it's just like, thank you, man. Thank you for being you. It's like, I love that. That's the energy I need to surround myself with to keep my vibe going and my motivation going. Let me look at my notes here. What else we got going on here? Closing thoughts. I guess we fucking did it, guys. What anything you want to say, get off your chest, anything you want to promote, whether it's on your personal channels or for the podcast. I mean, let it all out now. This is the last call. It's like the pub thing, right? Last call. We turn the lights off.
Yeah. That's it. They usually have a bell.
Ding, ding, ding. I have a bell
here. Yeah.
Is there probably one there somewhere?
Grab the fucking axe.
There's an axe. Just smash it on the webcam. Like last call.
Bro, the Golden Girls fucking skateboard is my favorite of this whole place. Shit.
No, I think I will just say if any of your listeners do want to check out Incensed, the Pokemon GO podcast, I will just say when you are listening, please do take it with a pinch of salt. As we've said throughout this whole podcast, me and the lads, we love this game. We absolutely love this game, and everything that we say, it's how we're feeling. But we don't want people to, because we know that Americans and British people are very different. They are very, very different. And I don't want anybody to listen and think, oh, these are just a bunch of low-life twats, because we're really not. So please just take it with a pinch of salt if you do listen. But yeah, check us out at Incensed, a Pokemon Go podcast on all podcast platforms. And of course on Twitter as well, at Incensed Podcast. That is where you can find us and find us chatting shit and slagging off Niantic in a nice way.
Yeah, you gotta when you do it on social, you kind of got to get creative of figuring out.
Gents, was that okay? Does anybody want to add
stuff? Yeah,
Nicely done.
Okay, all right. Okay.
But by all means, I mean, everyone, if you want to plug your own shit, go for it.
Do you know what's funny? We actually did say to ourselves when we started this whole process, we never wanted, obviously we are combining the two naturally because that's who we are. But we actually said to ourselves, didn't we, gents? We said that we never wanted it to be like a plug for ourselves.
Yes.
We're in this together as a family.
It's a separate project.
This is
project in itself. We want it to be sort of organic and focused on that. And it's more the combination of us four together having a bit of a laugh that we want people to come back and listen to us over and over again for. So that our own content, yes, we drop it in here and again,
of course, because it's the link, isn't it?
It's the link between the two and what's going on in the world of Pokemon Go at the time. But it's more, we really enjoy the four of us sitting down with a drink at the end of the day and having a chat and making the podcast. That's what we focus on, really.
But saying that, if you do want to subscribe, it's no. I'm joking.
No, dude. When I first had you on the show, Coops, I think you were at 800 subs or something like that.
It was, dude. I think it was like 750. Yeah, it was something crazy.
I love that. I love seeing growth. I love seeing how people develop, and it's been awesome to watch all your content. And it's like, I'm from New Jersey, so it's like, everyone, when they hear my, we've got a worldwide audience, people are like, man, you guys fucking talk funny from Jersey. It's like, I got this accent, but it's like, I love listening to you because it's like, you guys really fucking talk funny to me. It's like I'm fucking watching like Peppa Pig or some shit. It's like, it's funny as hell. It's like,
and that's just Coops.
But no, for real, man, like, you know what I mean? Before, like you said, it's the closing thoughts, and I know I'm talking so much, but on behalf of all of us,
no
you
change.
Help, yeah.
They love it. A 2-to-1 ratio.
Ken, they love me for it. No, I just listen. Oh, fuck it. I was going to say thanks for having us on. Someone else do it. Mark, you do it.
Ken, this has been amazing. And you know what? Like you said, we've spoken a bit before, but I think in a weird, roundabout way, not knowing it when we first started speaking, this feels like the right way for us to be speaking in this way, and this is an amazing opportunity for us, and we do thank you for inviting us onto it, and we can't wait to have you both on our show as well. But we do pinch ourselves, and the guys will joke a bit and say you keep sort of reining us back in. It's nothing like that. I just love how it's going, and this for us is just an opportunity we didn't think would happen so soon, and we're just going to carry on doing what we do. Talk shit, stay true to ourselves, and see where it takes us. But yeah, thank you, mate. Absolutely, thank you.
Awesome. No, it's absolutely my pleasure. I'm so excited that this was able to come together, and I look forward to coming on your show for sure. I think that'll be hilarious.
Yes, dude.
Especially to get Adam. Adam is like the voice of reason sometimes, you know what I mean? It's like, I'll talk shit, but he's always just like, hey, let's just be nice. You know what I mean? Like, he's a real
sweetheart. And he's got such a nice voice as well. His voice is like,
he does, dude. It's like
he starts talking and I want to fall asleep in a nice way, not because he's boring. But...
No, it's like I agree, but he's definitely psyched to come on the show. I look forward to that a lot, but yes, from the heart of hearts, thank you all for coming on the show. It's great to have a group on. I think it's fun to do it kind of like in this video format and just, cracking jokes and all that stuff. And personally, my virtual door is always open. If any of you ever want to talk, collaborate, get something off your chest, have technical questions about the process, anything like that, I live for this shit. I live and die this shit. So if you ever want to, just shoot the shit or talk about life, whatever, it's like, call me up, hit me up. I'm down 100% because I always say at the end of the show, it's like, you got to find the good ones. I believe all you are the good ones. You know what I mean? It's like, I believe in what you're doing. I believe in your message. I believe in your process. I think that our shows definitely have a strong proclivity to have crossover of audience, because we kind of have a very similar vibe of being real and being organic and just kind of going with the flow. So I really enjoy that. But thank you all so much for coming on the show. This was absolutely amazing. And of course, I will put links in the description to everywhere that you can find the Incensed podcast and all the individual creators, their Twitters and channels and all that good stuff. Make sure you please like, follow, sub, all that stuff. Turn the bell on, all that shit that all the fucking YouTubers say. Do all that shit.
Nailed it. You nailed it.
Exactly, because it's like, I do believe with my heart of hearts that they are part of the good ones here. But thank you, gents. Thank you so much again for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Man.
Awesome. Everyone else, keep training, trainers. We'll see you next week with another episode of the Lured Up Podcast Creator Series. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.